Well, you can vote for Alan and the other 15 large gardens in the BBC RHS People's Choice Award later in the week. And we'll also be heading into the Great Pavilion to visit a different Britain in Bloom exhibit later in the programme. But today the showground here is full of new faces taking an interest in gardening, and it's my great pleasure to introduce our special guest, actor Benedict Cumberbatch.
Hello.
Hello, lovely to see you here.
Lovely to be here.
Gardening is something that you were very much introduced to by your mother.
It was, I think, as a lot of children are. It's something that I spent more time sort of decimating their efforts, and my grandparents before them. But you know, gardens are just wonderful things. I live in the city. I've only got a roof terrace myself, and I have to get help with it because I'm barely resident anywhere for more than 3 weeks or a month at a time. But it's such a wonderful, beautiful, contemplative outlet for a bit of headspace and just to be able to focus and get away from the pressures and the pace of the city. So even my little patch of garden's been influenced by what Mum did originally with a balcony. That's all she had before she had a cottage garden after that. So I'm picking up tips, but I can't profess to any great knowledge or actually physically being you know, very, very involved.
What do you love in your garden?
Well, I've got a wisteria, which I love. I mean, springtime in London with wisteria and magnolia trees, I think it's such a beautiful thing, especially against sort of Victorian and Georgian architecture. It's such an archetypal site in London, so that always gives me a thrill. I always feel like I come home when I see that. And then apart from that, just something I've kept, this camellia that I managed to keep alive through thick and thin. It's had builder's dirt all over it when the place was being renovated, and it's suffered frosts and all sorts of really heavy weather that we've had over the last sort of 3 years on a south-facing roof terrace, and it's still alive, so
the wonderful thing about Chelsea, though, is it does show you, doesn't it, that even if you've got a small space, you know, a roof terrace or a balcony. I've got a very small London garden, but it shows you what you can do. There's huge potential with a very small area.
Yeah, you can be really imaginative, and you know, we're standing in the most extraordinary garden that Matthew designed. He's, what, 23?
29.
29.
He is a little bit older,
well, he looks 23.
Still under 30.
I'll give him 20. He could play 23 if he's an actor. But I mean, it's extraordinary, the amount of imagination that's in this space, and it's, you know, the acreage is modest, but it's kind of, it's beautiful what you can do.
And there's a great sort of influence this year of the young designers, the under 30s, which is wonderful, isn't it? The sort of next generation.
It's really, really impressive. It's really impressive, and I think, you know, that's the thing. It's always a heartbreaking moment if the tie between one generation and another is severed, and you don't get the advice and wisdom just as you're about to get into your gardening. And I think, you know, I'm very conscious of doing that without sounding too mawkish with Mum and Dad as much as I can, you know, because they've been doing it now properly for about 20-odd years with the cottage garden.
Well, we're going to hear a lot more from you and your mother later on, but that is going to be on BBC Two, because Benedict and his mother Wanda are going to be joining Monty over on BBC Two right after this programme, and you can see what they thought of the show. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you.
Now